Apparently, Loki's defeat was the reason why Shanks became an emperor 6 years ago. Chapter 11. 31 starts exactly where the last chapter ended, with Loki revealing that Luffy has arrived in Elbaf. Luffy gets extremely excited upon hearing this. He keeps talking non-stop about how massive Elbaf is, and how excited he is to meet other giants. But Loki didn't appreciate this behavior, since he couldn't get a word in. So he silences Luffy, and suddenly lets out a thunderous scream. The scream was so loud that nearby wolves react. Once Loki has Luffy's full attention, he reveals that he is the Prince of Elbaf, with a bounty of 2.6 billion berries. He tells Luffy that he's Elbaf's next great legend. Loki then warns Luffy not to speak without his permission. He then asks Luffy what he thinks of the current situation. As usual, Luffy casually responds, saying it's obvious. He's been captured. Loki liked Luffy's answer, saying he's observant, and just like many others, he also desires freedom. Loki refers to Luffy as Roddy, but Luffy quickly corrects him. This leads Loki to explain his situation. He says that 6 years ago, he was bound here. He was once the strongest giant in Elbaf. The massive tree he's tied to is called Tree of Adam, and the chains restraining him are made of sea stone, making escape nearly impossible. Loki then proposes a deal to Luffy. If Luffy retrieves the key and frees him, Loki will defeat any pirate Luffy wants taken down. He also explains that the place Luffy is currently standing on is the underworld of Elbaf, where criminal giants are imprisoned and executed. No one dares come here. The area is swarming with monster-like creatures, which is why Loki is shocked Luffy came at all. Loki warns Luffy to be careful. The beasts roaming this land? He's been friends with them since childhood. And just as he says that, they begin to appear. Massive, terrifying creatures. But instead of attacking, Luffy feels nostalgic. These animals remind him of the ones he trained with during his 2-year time skip, referencing his training with Rayleigh on Rusukaina. Loki warns Luffy again. If he disobeys him, these beasts won't hesitate to attack. But to everyone's shock, Luffy jumps into a gorilla's arms, and the beasts welcome him warmly. Loki and his masked men are stunned. These wild beasts were supposed to be dangerous, but to Luffy, they're old friends. The masked men then remember Shanks, realizing the same thing probably happened when he was here. One of them even says they hope they don't faint from seeing Luffy, just like they did with Shanks. Hearing Shanks's name, Luffy becomes curious. He asks if they know him. They answer yes. Loki notices the connection and mocks Luffy, calling Shanks a chicken pirate. Luffy immediately activates Gear 4, furious over the insult, and launches an attack at Loki. Loki barely dodges, and realizing Luffy isn't joking, quickly says he was only kidding. Luffy calms down and tells him to never say something like that again. In his mind, Loki vows to kill Luffy once he escapes. Then, Luffy asks what exactly Shanks did in Elbaf, and whether he's still here. Loki simply says, "Answers aren't free." Meanwhile, the scene shifts to Zoro's group, who have crossed about 3/4 of the bridge. Usopp spots someone chasing them. It's the fake legend Road, and behind Road are guards and Goldberg also chasing. Zoro wants to turn back and fight, but Usopp stops him, saying it's risky. They still don't know if Brogy and Dory are allies, so they all decide to keep running since they're close to finishing the bridge crossing. Back in the underworld, but at a different location far from Luffy and Loki, we see Hadruden and Stanson. They've just defeated a giant moss monster to prepare for the arrival of the Straw Hats in Elbaf. Hadrudin expresses how much he values his friendship with the Straw Hats. A mini flashback reveals more about Hadrudin and his crew, the new giant warrior pirates. The next panel shifts to Robin's group, who still haven't landed on Elba. Right now, everyone is admiring Robin's new haircut, done by Brooke. Even Brogy and Dory praise it, saying Saul will surely be happy when he sees Robin again. Everyone is excited at the idea of Robin and Saul reuniting. We then see them approaching the Elbaf shoreline. In the final panel, a mysterious character is nervously calling for help. Saul has collapsed and isn't moving. And that's where Chapter 11:31 ends. Brief analysis. The chapter reveals that Loki was bound to the Tree of Adam 6 years ago, which is the same year Shanks became an emperor. We actually learned about this in Volume 4 billion of One Piece. Could Shanks becoming an emperor be directly linked to Loki's capture? Did Shanks help capture him? Even though Loki wasn't an emperor, his bounty was extremely high. Thanks for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell for more videos, and don't forget to comment. See ya!